December 17, 1953. A DC-3 aircraft from Swedish Transair Airlines is making its way back to Bromma Airport, following its delivery of mail from Stockholm to Malmö. At the controls is Captain Ulf Christiansen, accompanied by flight mechanic Olli Johansson. It's a routine and uneventful assignment, a far cry from Ulf's earlier flying days. Between 1942 and 1946, Ulf served as a volunteer fighter pilot with the British Royal Air Force, the RAF, completing over 30 combat missions over North Africa and Italy. Compared to that high-stakes experience, delivering mail feels almost mundane. But today's flight will be anything but ordinary. As the plane passes over Hässleholm, Ulf notices movement straight ahead in the distance. He points it out to Olli. A fast-moving object approaches at an astonishing speed, traveling in the opposite direction. They figure it must be a fighter jet until it passes just to the right of the DC-3 and slightly beneath it.
It wasn't a fighter jet. What I saw was a completely unorthodox metallic symmetric lozenge object which was unlike anything I've ever seen before. It didn't look like it had a crew. It seemed to be a robot.
Olli Johansson, in the right seat, gets a longer look at the object before it passes out of sight. The shape was bizarre. We estimated the size to be about 10 meters in diameter. It left no exhaust or condensation trail. According to the crew's estimate, at the time of the incident, the DC-3 was flying at an altitude of 2,150 meters, with the cloud ceiling at 1,500 meters, while the object was flying at an altitude between 1,500 and 1,600 meters. It was flying entirely above the clouds. I could see the sharp outline, Olli remarked. They're both absolutely convinced it wasn't a meteor or any other celestial phenomenon. We did not see any distant light, but were only able to see that the object had a metallic luster. When making a comparison to the Swedish fighter jet J-29, they estimate the speed to be about that of sound. Ulf, perhaps momentarily forgetting he's no longer in a British fighter plane, considers following the object. However, he ultimately decides against it.
The object was moving south-southwest. It all happened so fast, we couldn't adjust our course in time to pursue it.
10 minutes after the encounter, they pass another passenger plane, an SAS DC-4.
When we encountered the DC-4, we conducted another comparison. The unidentified object was approaching from the north, traveling in the opposite direction to ours at an estimated speed of about 750 miles per hour. Our own speed was approximately 170 miles per hour. As we passed the DC-4, we calculated the object's speed to be roughly 3 times that of the DC-4.
Immediately after making the observation, they report the sighting to the F-5 military airbase and the Regional Civil Air Security Service. Fighter pilots at F-5 suggest a theory. It might be a prank. Ulf, however, dismisses the accusation.
To be sure, I joke a bit, but one does not joke about things like this. I saw something and reported what I observed. What it was, I don't know.
Both the defense staff and the air staff became involved in solving the mystery of the flying lozenge. They arrived at no definite result, but some experts were of the opinion that the observed object was a daylight meteorite. Captain Ulf Christiansen and Olli Johansson scoffed at the idea. We know it wasn't a meteorite. We saw this thing clearly. In the following days, the defense staff received reports from individuals involved in launching balloons. A perfume company in Malmö had released 300 balloons of various colors, each 15 to 30 centimeters in diameter, on the day of the sighting. Was it possible that the flight crew had spotted one? Considering the balloons could only reach altitudes of up to 1,000 meters and lacked any of the characteristics of the unidentified flying object, such as traveling at high speed, it was deemed unlikely. The 1953 Hasselholm sighting remains unresolved, but the clear observation of the unidentified object by Captain Ulf Christiansen and Olli Johansson made the incident stand out among other similar reports from that period. The encounter was later documented by the American CIA and was declassified and released in parts to the public in 2011. According to the National UFO Reporting Center, the lozenge shape is the 10th most commonly reported shape for unidentified flying objects, with over 2,000 reports to date.